At narito naman ang mainit na balita mula sa mundo ng politika. Isang mainit na isyu ang sumabog ngayong linggo sa mga pader ng Malacanang matapos ang mga ulat ukol sa posisyon ni President Kuting ng Norte Jr. Sa kabila ng ilang taon na pamumuno na pag-uusapan na kung may taning na ang kanyang administrasyon at may mga espekulasyon na si Vice President Sara Duterte ay handa ng sumalo ng pagkapangulo. Ano nga ba ang tunay na nangyari sa loob ng palasyo? Ayon sa mga ilang political analyst, unti-unting nawawala ang tiwala ng ilang sektor kay President Marcos dulot ng mga isyong kinakaharap ng kanyang administrasyon, tulad ng inflation, presyo ng bilihin at ang patuloy na isyu ng agrikultura. Nagsimula ring mag-alinlangan ng mga taga-suporta ng pamilya Marcos dahil sa tila hindi pagkakasunduan sa ilang mga hakbang sa pamamahala. Kung titignan, mahirap pagtakpan ng mga pagkakatalo na nararanasan sa administrasyong Marcos sa huling mga taon. Samantala, dumating na ang oras ng Vice President Sara Duterte. Kinuha ng mga political observers ang kanyang mga hakbang sa ilalim ng administrasyon ng Marcos na nagpakita ng kakayahan at lakas sa politika. Tinututukan siya bilang isang posibleng leader ng bansa, hindi lamang sa pamamagitan ng kanyang mga aksyon bilang Vice President, kundi dahil sa matibay na suporta mula sa grupo at mga alyadong politiko na nagsasabing siya na ang susunod na savior ng bansa. Nais pa ng ilan na maghanda na si VP Sara na sumalo sa pagkapangulo kung sakaling magbago ang mga takbo ng pamamahala sa ilalim ng administrasyon ni Marcos. Ngunit hindi ito lingid sa usap-usapan. Ayon sa mga insider, may mga palatandaan na ang pamilya Marcos mismo ay nahaharap sa ilang paghihirap ng pagdidesisyon. Habang ang ilang bahagi ng kanilang political networks ay nagsasabing bukas na pintuan para kay VP Sara, may mga ilang miyembro ng pamilyang nagdududa at nahihirapan sa ideya ng isang malawakang pagbabago ng liderato. Ang mga pamilyang Marcos na may matibay na pananaw sa kanilang political legacy ay nahaharap ngayon sa mga internal na alitan na maaaring magbago ng lahat. Sa kabilang banta, si VP Sara Duterte ay patuloy nang nagpapaabot ng mensahe ng pagiging handa sa anumang pagkakataon. Ayon sa mga malapit sa kanya, handa na siya. Kung sakali mang magkaroon ng pagkakataon na pamunuan ng bansa, kailangan na lamang ng tamang pagkakataon at suporta mula sa mga mamamayan at mga politiko upang maipalamas niya ang kanyang kakayahan. Hindi raw siya nagmamadali, ngunit nakahanda siya kung ang sitwasyon ay mangyayari. Sa kasalukuyan, patuloy ang pagmumuni-muni ng buong bansa sa mga susunod na hakbang ng pamilyang Marcos at kung paano ito makakaapekto sa hinaharap ng Pilipinas. Kung totoo nga ang mga espekulasyon, malaki ang magiging pagbabago sa politika ng bansa. Ano man ang mangyari, siguradong magiging makulay at puno ng drama ang susunod na kabanata ng ating kasaysayan. Abangan natin ang mga susunod na balita at developments tungkol sa isyong ito. At heto nga mga balita ang ating pagkakatutukan, at kung bago ka pa lamang sa aking channel, ay huwag kakalimutang mag-like, share and subscribe para updated ka sa aming mga bagong balita dito sa Tatak Pinas.
Dosena na sila na nag-handle. Kailangan ba na ando dun din yung isang dosena or marami pang PAW lawyers? Kasi ang dami po kasi nangangailangan ng tulong ng ating PAW lawyers. And if it's a hearing being handled by the judge na hindi naman sila nakakapasok doon sa kwarto at nasa labas at sobrang maingay, nahihirapan po yung korte na magkaroon ng discussion. And this is something na okay naman sana, pero hindi ba una-una sa labas ang ingay, hindi marinig sa loob. Pangalawa, andun na yung prosecutors, kailangan ba andun din yung PAW? Paano naman yung maraming nangangailangan ng tulong na kailangan mabigyan nila ng atensyon? Secretary Remulla, is it true that the Public Attorney's Office also filed cases against DOH officials involved in COVID vaccination during the time of President Duterte? However, I would like to point some of the injustices being done to our doctors, to our scientists, and to the real experts who have served the government. May I inquire, if cases are already filed, let's say nag-file po yung PAW, and ngayon ang nagre-representa are the prosecutors, is it fair to say that during hearings or trials or whatever processes you call that, there will be like at least a dozen PAW lawyers in the vicinity na ando doon na naman yung prosecutor? Sayang kasi yung pera ng bayan. May I inquire if this is in order, Mr. Chair?
I think that this is better answered by our Chief PAW Officer who's here right now.
With the permission of the Honorable Chair
Yes, go ahead.
and our Honorable Secretary of Justice. The POW lawyers are assigned to the victims who filed criminal charges before the DOJ, and they were requested by the victims, the families, to be present so that they could be well represented. Even in other criminal cases, there are private prosecutors aside from the state and public prosecutors. It is allowed by the court. Unless the
ma'am,
court, Your Honor,
sorry po, if I may, para lang po ma-clarify, ma'am. Okay.
Opo.
Yung tanong ko po kasi, kung may kaso at andun na yung mga prosecutors, isang dosena na sila na nag-handle, kailangan ba na andun din yung isang dosena or marami pang POW lawyers? Kasi ang dami po kasi nangangailangan ng tulong ng ating POW lawyers. And if it's a hearing being handled by the judge na hindi naman sila nakakapasok doon sa kwarto at nasa labas at sobrang maingay, nahihirapan po yung korte na magkaroon ng discussion. And this is something na okay naman sana, pero hindi ba una-una sa labas ang ingay, hindi marinig sa loob. Pangalawa, andun na yung prosecutors, kailangan ba andun din yung POW? Paano naman yung maraming nangangailangan ng tulong na kailangan mabigyan nila ng atensyon?
Yes, ma'am. Apat lang po ang nandun. Only 4. Ang kaso po doon ay 8. 4 lamang po ang POW lawyer na nandun. Baka po yung maingay yung mga spectators o yung mga kamag-anak ng mga namatay. At our lawyers have designated resident court assignment. 1 court, 1 POW lawyer. Hindi po kami nakapag-deploy ng marami sa mga kaso.
Mr. Chair,
Pasensya na po, ma'am. Ako nga po dapat nandun, hindi po ako pupunta eh.
yeah,
Dahil
let
po
me
na-request
proceed to
ng
my
family.
next question, Mr. Chair.
Okay, proceed, ma'am.
Okay. Secretary Remulla, is it true that the Public Attorney's Office also filed cases against DOH officials involved in COVID vaccination during the time of President Duterte?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I was told that this happened.
So ibig po sabihin, patuloy pong hinahabol ng Public Attorney's Office yung ating mga scientists, yung ating mga totoong eksperto, yung ating mga vaccinologists na konting-konti na lang po kami. Because if that is true, Secretary, do you think that is justice or injustice to our experts, scientists, doctors, health workers, and government employees?
Madam Chair, the primary duty of the POW is actually to defend the poor in criminal cases. However, people who are not represented also have the right to counsel. That's why the POW attends to different needs of Filipinos, for that matter. But as a matter of policy, of course, we do not want a government office fighting another government office, or at least the clear policy is really for them to defend. The other functions that they're attending to are more out of liberality, Madam Chair, out of liberality of the Department of Justice, because of this, of course, the right to counsel of every Filipino, whether this is for prosecution or for defense.
So, Mr. Chair, Honorable Secretary, cases against our doctors who implemented the COVID vaccination was also filed.
Well, that is one of the actual. This is part of the evolution of the job of the Public Attorney's Office. Actually, when we first had the Civil Liberties Law Office, Civil Liberties Office, at the time, the lawyers representing the destitute and the poor, most of them were just really to defend. But now, it has already come to the point where many of our countrymen go to the Public Attorney's Office for all kinds of counsel. And sometimes they're
Mr. Chair,
constrained.
I fully appreciate that. But these are actually cases being built up because of vaccination. And so if that is the case, Mr. Chair, Your Honors, maybe DOJ can instead recommend to the Department of Health and to the national government to stop all vaccination programs. Kasi ang nangyayari po kasi, pag ginagawa po ng ating mga doktor at ng ating mga totoong eksperto, yung kanilang trabaho, inuulan po sila ng mga kaso at wala naman silang pera na ipagtanggol yung kanilang sarili at wala rin silang mga pera na post ng bail. So if this is the case, maybe DOJ or PAO can instead, recommend to the government to stop all vaccination programs and allow all epidemics and outbreaks to come out. Kasi napaka-konti lang po ng mga eksperto na ito. We can instead recommend them to other countries because our profession is very much in demand in other countries.
Madam Chair, I don't think that the DOJ should step into the shoes of the DOH when it comes to policy. We allowed, of course, we respect the specialization of the DOH in this matter, and we cannot intrude in the territory. The fact that there are Filipinos who wish to sue others is really a very novel idea that came in already just lately. This is not policy of the department. And it is something that may be discussed later on because we are aware that the job of the PAO has to be more defined right now. And it is something that we will consider, Madam Chair, in the future.
Mr. Chair, recently the House of Representatives passed at the committee level the Physicians Act. And this is actually intended to police doctors similar to the Integrated Bar of the Philippines because that is our problem. Many of the doctors would go out in media claiming to be experts. But in our code of ethics and before the Hippocratic Oath, that is not allowed. It's very unethical. We cannot advertise our expertise. And doctors are always coming out in social media are actually those that do not have patience. With this, my question is, what's the stand of the Department of Justice? Because what is happening is contradictory to science and public health. Who has the expertise when it comes to forensic medicine and forensic pathology? Is it the PNP Crime Laboratory and the NBI, or is PAO now the new expert in terms of forensic pathology? Because we as doctors recognize the profession of pathologists, and we know that people who are under the public attorney's office are not pathologists, and the autopsies being conducted in public. My God, Mr. Secretary, Honorable Secretary, this is a very big public health chaos because you're actually exhuming unsanitized without good practices. So my question again is, sino po ba ang ating mga eksperto? Ang PNP Crime Lab at ang NBI Forensic Pathology Office, or yung ating public attorney's office? Because I can also cite many cases that this has created confusion and the accused are left to go away to be the victims are given another injustice because of this confusion.
Madam Chair, the Department of Justice has recognized that there is a problem right now in the country about forensic pathology. And in this light, we have asked the United Nations through the joint program to help us train the forensic pathologists of this country. And we just had a training program done in July, last month, no? 2 months ago, we had this program happen where the UN Special Rapporteur, Maurice Tidball-Vince, a very renowned doctor throughout the world, conducted the said forensic pathology training. In the country right now, there are only 2 recognized or actually lettered forensic pathologists if we are to be very strict about this matter. These are Dr. Raquel Fortun and her former assistant in the PGH whose name skips me now. That's why, anyway, the name skips me now. But it is something that is a problem right now to the country where we have to train our people again in forensic pathology. And right now, when we present witnesses as prosecutors, we have to qualify the witnesses. And the only thing that's happening right now is that the courts have become more lenient in allowing the other doctors of the services, like the PNP and the NBI, to come in as their jobs describe them to be, as part of the forensic team of the government. But otherwise, if the qualification for a forensic pathologist is to be asked, well, we only have 2 qualified forensic pathologists in the country.
And this training is being conducted for the NBI and the PNP?
Yes, NBI and the PNP, Madam Chair.
So the alleged PAO expert on forensic pathology is not part of it?
He was not invited into the first training that we conducted, and we will see, Madam Chair, about this complaint. We will look into it.
Please wind
Thank
up.
you. Yes, Mr. Chair. Last question, please. Ako po ay naging kalihim ng kalusugan. And I have very much respect to our doctors, our scientists, lalo na yung mga pinauwi natin na ayaw-ayaw naman sanang umuwi kasi ang ganda ng kanilang profession abroad. Recently, I believe the Prosecutor General's office has been filing. I mean, I'm not sure if it's the Prosecutor General's office filing. These are cases from PAO. At paulit-ulit ko, yung copy and paste cases related to Deng Vaxia na paulit-ulit na sinasabing may namatay pero sinasabi naman ng buong mundong walang namatay. And mind you, Mr. Secretary, in the whole world, more than 21 countries are continuously using the vaccine, increasing. Sa Pilipinas lang nagkaroon ng confusion. And mind you, the other agencies, let's say World Bank and UN agencies whose employees and families are coming to the Philippines are actually being mandated vaccination on dengue. My question is, andiyan dyan yung kaso, nadi-dismiss, file ulit, file ng file, may hinihiring, naguguluhan kasi hindi makita ng DOJ before kung sino yung, who has the authority to handle this. Is it not, Mr. Chairman, Honorable Secretary, that this is already an injustice to our scientists and our experts? They are being forced to shell out millions for their bail. Eh yung dalawa dun, mamamatay na nga kasi terminal na yung cancer ng isa. Yung isa nagkakaroon ng thyroid storm. Why don't we allow them to die in peace?
Okay.
Madam Chair, can I ask the Prosecutor General to answer this question?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. The matter as of this time is that the reason for the refilings is that the Supreme Court issued an order, I would say around 2-3 months ago, saying that the venue for the cases is now the Regional Trial Court in Quezon City. So meaning the previous cases before that were filed with the MTC, we have to refile it with the RTC. So that's what we have done, Your Honor.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, with the indulgence, just last one quick because in rebuttal. And Mr. Chair, actually, Secretary...
Okay, last question, please.
Yes, the other expert is Dr. Cecilia Lim. So we only have 2 forensic pathologists in the Philippines. And yung tanong ko po, kasi andyan dyan na, nakikita na walang basihan at paulit-ulit na sinasabing walang namatay at hindi nakakamatay yung bakuna. Is it fair to say that if PAO keeps on filing cases, patuloy nyo lang din na ibibigay at patuloy na kakasuhan? For the record, Honorable Secretary, as I was computing earlier, each doctor, each RITM expert, at kasama na dito yung gumawa ng ating bakuna sa rabies, sa polio, sa measles, because these are the same scientists that were involved at kilala nyo naman yung iba doon. They are somehow forced to prepare 40 million for their bail. Saan naman sila kukuha nun?
Okay. So, Madam Garin, if you take some questions, take that on the second round.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please.
Very gladly.
Secretary. If I may, please.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I had an earlier question to the Prosecutor General. Is this justice or injustice for scientists or experts who went home to the Philippines, served the government, and now they're being forced to come up with millions and pesos just to be on bail despite the fact na wala ngang matumbok na kaso kasi wala ngang kaso, wala ngang namatay.
The good prosecutor, please answer the question of the good representative Garin. With due respect, Your Honor, I will answer by way of procedure because the moment there is a complaint filed with the Department of Justice, we are mandated to receive it and run the preliminary investigation. So, it is procedural. And in due course, whether we will file the case or not. In this particular case, the next procedure is for the prosecutors to file the case. So, ma'am, procedural po sa amin yan. Then, after that, it goes to the court. Again, it's a matter of procedure po.
Yes, thank you
Okay.
very much, Mr. Chair. I'll go on my second round, and just to leave a last statement, I do admire the Department of Justice for coming out with an order that the prosecutor's office should stop filing weak cases.
Yes.
Because we have a lot of
Tama.
problems, we have a lot of Filipinos, ang dami pong nangangailangan ng
Tama.
tulong nyo. Stop please. Kung sino man yung mga nambababoy sa ating mga scientists at mga eksperto, sana po makonsensya kayo.
Thank you very much.
Yun ang pinakapunto doon mga kaibigan, no? Injustice, no? Yan ang pinakapunto doon. Kasi itong mga prosecutors, sa totoo lang guys, sumusunod lang sila eh. Kung ano yung sinasabi ng boss nila, klarong-klaro naman na sumusunod lang sila. Di ba? Ito namang si Secretary, ang technique naman niya, lalabas ka agad siya sa media. Mag-press con ka agad siya. Like for example, no, ito ha, magandang example to. Yung kaso po ni Bantag, mga kaibigan. Kaya po nalabasan ng probable cause yun eh. Kaya di ba lumabas yung warrant of arrest ni Bantag? Dahil yung mga prosecutor, wala silang sariling desisyon. Kanino sila kumuha ng desisyon? Kay Bonjing. Kasi kung anong sinabi ni Bonjing sa press con, yun din yung guidelines nila. Yun yung sinusundan nila mga kaibigan kung anong sinabi ni Bonjing kasi nga boss nila eh. Kaya po ang nangyayari sa kaso ni Bantag mga kaibigan, ayun, kawawa. Lumabas yung probable cause and eventually lumabas na rin yung warrant of arrest, ayun, nagtatago na si Bantag. Dahil nga sa procedural or sa procedure na ginagamit ng Department of Justice na hindi naman talaga tama. Kung kahit nga tayo, hindi naman tayo mga abogado eh. Pero kung titingnan nyo mabuti guys, mali talaga, meron talagang mali eh. Hindi ko naman sinasabing ano no, ano ba talaga ang mali dyan kasi masyadong technical yan eh no. Sabihin nyo naman, hindi ka naman expert po din kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo eh. Hanggang doon lang kami sa basic eh, na naiintindihan namin. Kasi kahit kami, hindi kami mga expert, hindi tayo mga abogado, pero kung gagamitan mo lang ng common sense mga kaibigan, makikita mo yung mali. Yes! Prosecutor, mga puppet. Kung nakalaala nyo yung sa Bureau of Immigration, sino nakalaala doon sa Bureau of Immigration? Yung mga Hapon, yung mga Hapon na nakakulong sa BI. Anong ginawa doon sa BI? Binabayaran ang mga prosecutor. Tanggap naman sila. Di ba? Kasi nga, sila lang nag-uusap dun eh. Kontrolado nila lahat eh. Kontrolado ang prosecutor. Kontrolado ang judge. Yung may hawak po ng Department of Justice, ganun din. Kaya po, ang mga kaso guys, malamang sa malamang, kangaroo court talaga ang nangyayari. Palpak po ang mga kaso.